And now, allegedly, where we slow the story down. This is about insight versus impact, learning from what we observe. Instead of paying the price ourselves, their experiences become our education. So growth doesn't have to come with damage.
Women and Men of Excellence Outreach Ministries is a global church without walls. We're serving communities through live services, prayer intervention, and outreach that changes lives. Support our $500 monthly giving drive at WAMOE.org/give. Shop with purpose at faithmerchandise.com, featuring Dr. Faith's Miracle Lemonade. Book Dr. Faith for therapy, speaking, or ministry at drfaithreborn.com. Grow through professional connection and vocational training at theexcelproject.com. Subscribe to our monthly newsletter and follow us on socials at WAMO Ministries. Become a great motivator. Help us empower minds for success in the kingdom of God.
All right, so I'm Coach Raquel, and it's now time for allegedly. Allegedly. Just remember, allegedly. Everything is alleged that I'm going to be speaking about because I was not there in person. I did not have first-hand account of it. However, I find it useful to discuss and to entertain so that I can experience I can be inspired to do my self-work so I can experience breakthrough, and the same for you. All right, that's the purpose of sharing it, so we can experience breakthrough. Now, on allegedly, this is where truth meets opinion and headlines meet hard questions. My questions, your questions. Let's ask, okay? Let's explore. So welcome to Allegedly. Allegedly. All right. Now let's go through our copyright disclaimer for today, and our copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. We are not trying to infringe on anybody's rights or their information or their thoughts, their ideas, their IP, whatever. That's not what we're seeking to do. However, there's some interesting conversations at times that happen. I, from time to time, may want to comment on them. And today specifically, there are some clips that I saw on TikTok that I really, really would like to react to or comment on and share my thoughts on it, right? So that's what we're going to do now. That is what we are going to do now. All right. So, and that's why we shared that fair use thing, because we're not trying to infringe on anybody's thing, but we want to be able to use it as conversation starter, discussion, reflection, this reference points for our discussion. Now, there's something I want to share with you. I want to start this discussion with by sharing something with you from this book. This book is When Fun Is Not Funny. It was written by Keith Merritt, somebody I know personally. Hello, I know the author. It's a beautiful, let me tell you something. It's life-changing when you start interacting with people who, when you have in your network the very people who you reference. Growing up, I said this last week, where growing up, I never, first of all, I never thought I'd ever become an author. That was never something I aspired to become, thought I could become, because it felt so far reaching, like it was so out of my reach, right? Because most of the books I read or had access to, I did not know the authors. And I'm more intentional now about knowing the people I quote, knowing, so that's what I said, you've got to be invested in the people in your network, the people who God gave you, the people you have access to. Get to know the people. Get to know the people who are within your grasp, your reach, your touch. Support your people who are closest to you. You should know the people who influence you. Yeah? Anyway, I'm just very proud to know Keith. And of course, you can get his book on Amazon at amazon.com /author/Keith A. Merritt. He is there. When Fun is Not Funny by Keith Merritt. And I want to share something with you, and then I'm going to go to the clips that I want to share with you. So just listen to this. Listen to what he wrote. All right? All right, this is better. Me and high school. Oh, sorry. Me and high school. All right? All right. Okay. Me and high school, the author wrote. Working in a high school and observing the many kinds of behaviors exhibited by students, I have come to realize that to be effective in helping teens make good decisions, I need to be transparent and honest without crossing the boundaries of student-teacher relationship. One high school where I worked was particularly focused on freedom of self-expression for both staff and student. It was unusual to see young boys with their pants hanging down near their knees, exposing underwear that was often unclean. Many of the girls came dressed in ways that were highly provocative for a school setting. Tops so revealing, it looked like their breasts were about to spill out, and G-strings clearly visible whenever they sat down. Some wore so much makeup and so many accessories that it was no surprise many of them arrived late, trying to look picture perfect. I wanted to share that. I especially, when he spoke about the boys and their pants hanging so low, almost to their knees, and the girls, their breasts almost spilling out, right? Now, we're going to go to the first clip that I want to talk about. Before I go, let me say this, yes? What I want you to ask yourself is this. Why in a world that is so critical of us, when the IRS don't play about their taxes, when the businessman don't play about you paying him his money, when the traffic cops and the ICE agents they don't play about immigration, when in a world where when we don't play about something, we're so strict with it, we can even be draconian, if I may say so myself. That's in my opinion about it. But when it comes to our kids, it's okay for them to take the club scene to the school ground. Does it make you wonder why? Why would what he just wrote, what I just read, that this author wrote, even exist? Why would you have students looking like strippers on the school ground? What kind of, these are young people, adolescents, right? In between child and adulthood, still figuring their way out. Isn't this when the experts say their sexuality, the confusion, the heightened of their sexual desires, their curiosity, isn't this the time when that's happening? So why in a world when we're strict about something, we will go to measures unimaginable for it? Well, when it comes to our kids, I don't see that kind of interest, that kind of, I will go to war to protect these Yeah, I will sanction people for their protection. Don't you have questions? Let's go to our first clip.
The reason why they want to get kids so young is they know if they get kids young, and like one of the kind of more, shows you how they think about this, quotes from the docs was the young ones are the good ones, is that you get someone young and that becomes their social network for life. Each individual platform is scared that if they don't get, the next set of 10-year-olds, the next set of 12-year-olds, the next set of 14-year-olds, that someone else will get them. If it's not Instagram, it'll be TikTok. If it's not TikTok, it'll be Discord. And that when we look forward in 10 years, that community will age as that is their social platform. Think about millennials. Like they make fun of millennials of, they're on Facebook, right? It's because that's what they aged up with. And that's why companies go after these younger users.
How do they intentionally target children as young as 10?
Well, it's things like when you have a queue that has 3.5 million accounts that are under 13, that someone has already told you are under 13, and you choose not to review them, that's a great example of saying we're gonna keep these kids on there as long as possible. You give them a chance to age out into actually being okay users. It's things like one of the things the documents discuss is Facebook had conversations around should we turn off notifications during the school day, because kids reported it makes them anxious, distracts them from school, makes them less productive. One of the reasons they chose not to was they said penetration in schools, like the more kids we can get in a single school community, the more usage we get. Like it's a network effect. They intentionally don't want to avoid these places because if the more kids they can get in any individual school community, the more usage and stickiness they'll get over time.
And that's from, well, you see it, 60 minutes clip. Now, sometimes, to be honest with you, I ask myself, why do people have children? Why? And oftentimes when I hear of people who have children, it's more I hear, I want to have a child. I want to have a child. I wanted to have 6 children. I dreamed of having children on a farm with horses, with horses and goats and chickens and whatever, right? But as I grew older and I became more informed, I got to a place where I started saying to myself, why do you want to have kids, Raquel? Why? And how will it be in the kids' best interest? Really take a look at your world. Is this a world you really want to bring someone into when they never had a choice, that they don't have a choice? You just decide you want to have kids, you want to be a mother, you want to be in charge of somebody. We really have to think about it. What is driving my desire to have a child? Is it that I want someone to become a sycophant over? Is it because I want someone to make me feel like I'm needed? Is it because I need to feel like I have control over somebody? Is it because I feel like I want to be important and I want to be important to someone? What is the need that's driving it? Because if we're not having kids in the interest of populating Earth in God's honor, and having kids who serve God, and having kids who God approved and within environments that God designed and for the purpose of kingdom building, then what's the reason that we're having kids? Now, as I listened to her, you see, everybody is hustling. I always say this, everyone is hustling. I mean, everyone is hustling. You're hustling, I'm hustling, we're all hustling. And that's why it's so important to be intentional about the environment you're building around yourself, so you can network with hustlers who align with your hustle, who align with your divine purpose, and you have to make sure your hustle is connected to the divine. And a lot of us don't do that, because to do that requires a lot of self-work, and it requires learning God, learning self, then learning God. It requires obedience, and it also requires sacrifice. It requires commitment and accountability, really doing the work, really truly doing the work. And a lot of us are looking for other people to do the work for us. We want to say we have this, we own this, but the responsibility to build it, to do it, to actually do the real work is on somebody else. We want to delegate. That's not leadership. Delegation is a part of leadership, but that is not the entirety of what leadership is about. So when we talk about having kids, the reason I don't have kids is not because I can't have kids. It's because when I really sit down and think about it, is it fair? Do I want to bring someone in this world based on my experience, based on what I've been through, and based on what I'm going through? Do I have the infrastructure within which to raise healthy, safe children and provide them with environments that are safe? Because the world is not designed to protect your kids. The world is not designed to facilitate the best interest of your children. What I heard the author describe in this book was not much different from what I heard that woman on 60 Minutes say. It literally, our kids are targeted, and environments are so designed to get them into a state of mental consumerism. Is there such a thing? Well, I make it up. It's like we're conditioning them for consumption, sexual consumption, material consumption. We are conditioning them for world. We are making them prey for predators. What goes through a boy's mind when he sees a girl's G-string peeking through her skirt or shorts or whatever she wears, her pants? What goes through his mind? Not even that. What goes through his body? What happens with his private parts when that happens? And does he have the mental strength, the self-control to not act on that? And when it's happened repeatedly, and I'm not blaming the girl and I'm not blaming the boy, I'm just saying, what happens when a girl is looking at a guy and his pants are all the way down to his knees? What happens to them sexually? What goes through their little underdeveloped brains? What happens to them? Why would that ever be something that is not eradicated in schools, where they're sent to go learn, to function in the world? But this is it, right? This is something that God had to teach me. God taught me, Raquel, nothing is wrong with the intentions behind what you see. Let me say that again. Nothing is wrong with the intentions behind what you see. What you see is exactly what they want you to see. And by nothing is wrong, I'm saying, what God is saying to me is, because we have this thing, how did they let that happen? Oh my God, how did that happen? It happened because someone made it happen. It's not a mistake. They didn't make a mistake. That was their intention. Exactly what they present before you, you need to see it as it is, so you can realize this is how they operate, and you can choose to not flow with them, to choose something else. It's not by accident that they have our kids looking like that, operating like that. What kind of learning is happening in that kind of environment? What kind of learning? They're learning how to function in the world. They're learning how to be consumers. So we may be here saying, they're not learning business. They're not learning this. They're not there for that. What you see is exactly what it is. Don't be caught up with what they tell you. Pay attention to how they operate, because how they're operating is intentional, and they're not making any mistakes. That was their intention in the first place, and you have to make decisions based on based on what they did, based on the activities in front of you. Do you want your children being raised, being groomed and and grown and reared in that kind of environment, because they are preparing them for the world they desire the world to be. Did I say that right? They're preparing your kids for the kind of world they're building. They're training your kids to conform to the world standard, to live by world standards and to operate by world standards. Because when they do that, then businesses thrive, money flow. And then we talk about STIs in the schools. If you're going to take the club scene, the adult club scene, and facilitate that on school grounds, that's not accident. That's intentional. They know what they're doing, no matter what they're saying. They're grooming our kids for long-term consumerism. They're grooming them as long-term consumers. They start early, cultivate habits in them, and then that makes them consumers for the rest of their lifespan. Unless, of course, God comes in and creates some disruptions. I think it's Dr. Umar Johnson who's always talking about the school to prison pipeline. It's not just school to prison pipeline. You have the school ground to the club pipeline. It's like, when you think about it, it's almost like grooming them to be trafficked. It's almost like grooming them to be lusted after. So when it starts happening, even though their brains know this is off, their system has become so acclimatized to it. The taste, they already have a taste of it, right? It's like the habits. It's already a part of their habit, the culture. So even something that the instinct says it's wrong, this is wrong, but the culture within them, it's like, but this is familiar. I don't know. I don't have kids. What do I know? I guess all I'm trying to ask is, can we not see? And when we see, what do we do? Because complaining about it isn't it. It's choices. It's decision making. Let's continue.
Jeffrey Epstein did not invent a dark new crime. He stepped into a very old role.
Man, when I heard this clip and what this lady said, when I told it, it went straight into my brain and just locked in, like, yeah, yes. You know, I was having a conversation with someone I respect, like I have mad respect for this man. He's a man of God. He is just the greatest leader I've ever met in life, in real life, you know. That's how I see him anyway. And I remember we were talking once, and we were talking about lust, you know, and he was saying, you know, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what was said, but it was my understanding was kind of like, yeah, but you know, if a man is lusting and let's say he gets married or whatever, he doesn't stop lusting. It's still there. So I was saying, so when he gets old and gray and his penis no longer works, he's not sleeping around. And I remember he said, yeah, but the lust is still, no, the lust is in his mind. But I'm like, yeah, but he's not acting on it. So having it in your mind doesn't mean you have to act on it, whether your penis work or doesn't work. I just think the message is a message of acceptance of a state of being that creates a level of acceptance that later on we want to criticize them for, you know. And I'm not saying that, and you could also look at it the flip side and say, oh well, since it's out in the open and they see penises and G-strings, maybe it will become so they will they'll have sensory adaptations, and they'll adapt to it, that when they see it out there, then they won't be so tempted. But what's the process from innocence to adaptation? What happens between that timeline? Because before something becomes habit, it has to be practiced, right, and experienced, right? That's all I'm saying. And then we get to stages now where we have the quote unquote Epsteins of the world, and we want to hang the whole thing around his neck and say he's this or he's that or he's this or he's that. And meanwhile, all of this is just talk. Just talk. It's just conversation. It's just discussions. And where are the actions behind it? Perhaps there are no actions because maybe he just had a role in a system that already exists. So all we hear talking about it as if it's new, it's appalling. This author just talked about the school grounds and what's happening there. Then we had the other lady who talked about the social media platforms or the businesses and how they groom our kids to become consumers of all things. But Jeffrey Epstein shocks us. We're shocked.
Enslaved black girls, little black girls, were openly sold as what traders called fancy girls. That was not some backroom slang. It was a market category. A regular enslaved woman in her prime, valued for labor, might sell for $1,200 to $1,600 by the 1850s. A fancy girl could sell for 2, 3, even 4 times that. Some documented sales reached $6,000 or $7,000. That was the price of a house in those days.
Wow.
The law made it possible. Enslaved girls could not refuse. White men faced no consequences. Courts enforced the contracts. Banks financed the purchases. The entire system treated sexual exploitation as a luxury good for wealthy men. That's how Epstein made his money too. After slavery ended, officially, the paperwork changed. The pattern did not. Ownership became arrangements. Coercion became opportunity. Silence became discretion. Fast forward to the late 20th century. Jeffrey Epstein did not create a network of powerful abusers. He just built additional infrastructure. He sourced vulnerable girls. He moved them. He insulated the men who wanted access to them. He functioned like a broker on an old market that never fully disappeared. Everyone knows just enough. No one important asks questions. Institutions protect reputations, not children. Epstein was a modern version of a system that has always existed wherever wealth, gender, age, and impunity collide.
My God.
Anytime powerful men expect access without consequences, someone will always be there to build the supply chain. Epstein already had the interest. He already had access to rich men. He had a creepy charm about him that those rich men recognized. That it's just part of the system of America. It's American history. And it continues down that same dark path. And it's time for people to start talking about it. Get curious.
And it's not just America. You see, if we're honest, really, truly honest, you see, the way people sometimes get at you with this Bible thing. Oh, the Bible this and the Bible that, and you've got to do this according to the Bible, and Jesus said, and you have to love God. And if kingdom warriors are only people who fight to defend the Bible and fight to defend a certain belief and fight to the death to honor the God they've never met, then that's why we are where we are. So we shouldn't blame anybody because we're all contributors to where we are. You know, there are two things I live by that the same Bible said. And I'm going to say it my way based on my memory. The two commandments that are most important. Love God and serve no other God but God. Then love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, if you have not mastered those two, don't talk to me about Bible. Don't talk to me about Bible. Sometimes when I hear men of God talk about what they're going to lose in a marriage, or when gold diggers this and gold diggers that, and which God are you serving again? Sorry. Because if you're providers, then why are you worrying about losing? Provide. Aren't you the one who should be left empty? Because you're the provider? You're the hunter? You're the gatherer? Aren't you supposed to be the one that makes sure nobody is hungry in life? Isn't it for you to sacrifice yourself? Leader? Provider? So what are you talking about losing? Furthermore, if you are a great leader, then you know how to choose. And when you choose, you'll know how to manage what you've chosen or who you've chosen. Someone who I adore and I respect said to me, men are looking for love. Then why am I not married? Because I'm a lover. And I have loved. I have loved with my whole heart and soul. And I'm single. Men are not looking for love. But we talk about the school grounds, right? We are all Epsteins. We're all Diddies. We're all culpable and we're all responsible. All of us. And we keep bringing children into it. And then behave as though we have these sanctimonious behaviors like I am holy. It's like when I hear they talk about Charlie Kirk. Oh my God. Charlie Kirk was Jesus Christ. He was holier than God. And from the same people who makes him out to be holier than God, the same people speak about how he chose the devil to marry. And he chose the devils to serve in his company. So he chose to surround himself with devils, but he's a God. He is a modicum of perfection. He is perfection. Pure and holy. And this pure and holy man chose to marry the devil, according to them. But he has no devil in him. How did he attract the devil? Oh, he did not. The devil found him. You attract who you are. We attract who we are. Who you choose is a mirror of who you are. And if someone is robbing you, it's because you're a robber. So if you don't want anyone to rob you, stop being a robber. Men are not looking for love. Do we even know what love is? A lot of you men know that when you go and be with somebody else, you know somebody else's heart is bleeding. The real person who really loves you, you know their heart is bleeding because you know they exist. Anyway, I'm not here to beat men. That's not what I'm here. I speak about men because they're the leaders. I don't speak about women because women don't lead me. So if you think I'm being biased, then that's on you. Men lead. So I speak on the leadership. Anyway, we're going to go to the next clip. And this clip is so important as well and very interesting because I remember the same person I was having a conversation with and we were talking about men who choose a particular man who was talking to this particular woman, and she was a quote unquote gold digger. How did she even get your ear? Let's go, because this guy put it so well, so well. You see, we go buy sugar and eat sugar, then blame sugar when we have decayed tooth, when our teeth decay. At some point in time, you chose the sugar. I don't care if the sugar drop in your lap. I don't care if it fall from the sky. If you know who you are, you'll say, away from me. That's not my taste. But you see, you ate it because it is your taste. And now that you've had the taste of it and you don't like the repercussions, you're going to blame it, right? They say it's a man's world, so let's go.
Nails done, hair done, everything did. Fake gas, fake tits, everything big. Lash extensions, lip injections, misdirection, snatched waist, painted face, vacant brain. What a shame, what a shame. While they might be nice to look at, there's nothing more unattractive than a bad bitch. You know the ones. Hoes dressed in designer clothes and full of silicone, but devoid of modesty, morals, and values beyond value bulls. They have no loyalty to anything but themselves, status, and shallow shit, and no depth or substance beneath their pleasant reflection. Yet and still, all you starving motherfuckers keep listening to your sweet tooth and picking eye candy over soul food. Then
He said it. Picking eye candy over soul food. Now listen, I've had persons say to me, I remember I've gotten comments for my fitness video where someone said to me, oh my God, if your waist, what do they call it? If I snatch my waist or something like that? Waist trainer, right. Oh my gosh, you'd be so sexy if you put on a waist trainer. No. I want to see myself everywhere. Everywhere. If on my podcast, when I see myself, I should look like myself. In my mirror, when I look at myself, I should see myself. When I'm on my vlogs and I see myself, I should see myself. I want to see myself every time I think of myself in my mind's eyes. I should look like myself. The same version of me that I'm looking at right now in the screen, the same version of me that I look at in the mirror, the same version of me on my blog. I'm supposed to be the same version of me in all versions of me. Yes. The naked version of me should be the same version of me I see elsewhere when I'm clothed. Same version of me, because I love me, some me. I love me. But you see, there's some of us, as he says, you come with your sweet tooth, then you blame the sugar. But you bite it. You didn't have to bite it. You ate it. You see, that's what you really want. And then you criticize. You see, we're in a world now where even being your truest self, authenticity is a problem. I've even had to check it with myself when I'm a girl. Your attitudes stink. What is this? Where I've had to check myself like, girl, this person's being their authentic self. They're making their choice. Why is this? You're not supposed to have a negative reaction when someone shows themselves. No, you fix that. Switch that up, switch it up, switch it up, switch it up. And that's why I'm very intentional about what I take in.
And when you find out that everything that looks good isn't good for you, you blame the hoes you chose for leaving you malnourished. But you knew good and goddamn well sugar was bad for you. So that's on you. You gave into temptation and found out why lust was one of the 7 deadly sins. I know they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but what they don't tell you is beauty is a novelty. Eventually that shine on your trophy wife will dull, and what you'll be left with is essentially a sentient decoration.
Listen, nothing more needs to be said. Listen to people when they tell you who they are. Sometimes we have all these romanticism around who people are. Oh, he's a man of God. He's a this, he's a that. And he is all of that. He's all of that. But he's also a luster like the rest of them. He's also a man of the world like the rest of them. Do we still have men who want to travel narrow road? Do those still exist? I'm asking genuinely. Do we have fathers for real? Not just men who father children, but fathers. Do we have men who don't give in to lust? Do we have men who truly truly appreciate and value the natural woman? Do we still have men who truly love, deeply love? Do we have men who take accountability? Do we have men who know what truth is anymore? Do we? And it's I guess the same applies to women. But since I see men as leaders, that's who I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. You see, we can blame the Epsteins, the Diddies, the this. Find whoever you want to blame. The world will always give you somebody to blame. The world will always give us someone else to blame. Oh, this is the reason. You ever hear people who have never been impacted by racism talk about racism stop people from doing something? Then why don't you stop racism? I'm just saying, we will accept any reason not to do the work, not to take accountability, not to do the Father's work. But we cannot show somebody else's hand to God. We can't. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to have to answer for ourselves. I'm guilty. I'm a coward. I'm a coward. Yeah. And that's something I have to live with. All I'm trying to say is the world has become what we've all allowed it to become. We're all participants. We're all participants. This has been allegedly. It is my hope that something in all of this has stirred something in you to go do some self-work. It certainly has stirred some things in me to go do some more self-work. I have a lot of self-work to do because I've got to be a better person. I have to be a good woman, a good wife, a good companion, friend, family member. I've got to try. I've got to try. I've got to try, and I'm trying. And now I don't know if I will ever be a man's cup of tea. It doesn't feel that way, right? Because I want to be my authentic self, and I'm not a quote unquote baddie, and I have no desires to be. I want to be a child of God. That's what I want to be. That's what I'm trying to be. That is who I want to be. Yeah. And that's why for me sometimes I don't really understand when people say, oh no, I want to live until I'm old and gray and crawling. No, I'm ready to leave this world now. And I want to say this on the record. I don't want a funeral. When I go find somebody else to love, someone who can actually receive the love. Love me while I can receive it. Tell me the things I can receive it. Give me when I can actually receive it. And by God, there's this thing that I see people doing that, Lord, I pray that anyone even consider doing it towards me, God Almighty, that you will switch that thought. When I pass away, I want to be cremated, and I don't want a picture of me out there anywhere in any coffin or as a body. How it is so, I find it so disrespectful. We claim how we love people, we love this, we love that. My God, let them rest in peace. I'm not saying that because I'm criticizing other people as though I'm any better. I just want to be better. And not better than other people. I just want to be my the best version of myself. I want to be thoughtful and considerate and understanding and forgiving. I want to be kind. I want to truly listen to understand. I want to provide support. I want to be a safe space. I want to be the kind of person that when people interact with me and they leave, they feel that they would have experienced the kindness and goodness of God in some way. That's who I want to be. And I want to be me, the full version of myself, authentically myself, with my natural hair. I love my natural hair. I love tying my hair. I feel the most me when I do this. You know? Go be yourself. Go be yourself. Do your self-work. Let us do our self-work. Let's become better humans, better people, kinder, more thoughtful, more mindful. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, for watching, and listening to Allegedly. I'm Coach Raquel.
Unlock your potential every Thursday with our podcast, Refresh, Relax, Renew. Join Coach Raquel as she guides you through personal development journeys. Each episode focuses on actionable steps to enhance your personal journey. The podcast features 3 main segments to keep you engaged. We start with discussions on trending topics relevant to your growth. Then we unbox solutions to common challenges we face daily. Finally, stay updated with fresh funding opportunities each week. Tune in every Thursday for new episodes, and see you there. New York, November 2025. No narration, just sounds. This docuseries captures fragments of my time in New York. What I noticed, where I paused, what stayed with me, unfiltered, unrushed. Presence over performance. Premiering exclusively on YouTube at My Coach Ministry.
I love to open new packages. I will give you the latest information on the top funding opportunities for entrepreneurs who are seeking funding. Come along with me. I'm Coach Raquel, and this is a passion project for me, so I'm so happy to bring this to you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching.